Greetings, everyone. I'm happy to invite you all and welcome you here to the Techie Women panel this afternoon. I'm Kanika Radhakrishnan. I'm the founder and CEO of Evergreen Valley Law Group. It's an IP law firm with offices in Silicon Valley and Bangalore, India. I'm also a charter member of TiE Bangalore and the program director of TiE Women Global. With that, I'll introduce you to the moderator for this panel, Smita Bagla. A brief intro about Smita is she's a tech serial entrepreneur, a corporate leader, and a passionate mentor and investor. As a graduate of computer science from the IIT in India, she started her career as an AI lead engineer for cancer research at UCLA. She has since traversed between the roles of running her own companies and being strategic advisors for large corporations. She has had 2 successful exits of her own and now acts as interim CXO and growth advisor for startups in several sectors such as digital health, entertainment, and education. She's also passionate about women's success and loves mentoring women in STEM. A fun fact about Smita is that she loves to act. And she's been the scriptwriter and director for tonight's show, The Slam Dunkers. You don't want to miss that tonight. With that, over to you, Smita. I'm sure the panelists and the audiences are in great hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kanika. Thanks for the awesome introduction. And yes, everyone, please watch our skit at 9:40 p.m. IST. It's called The Slam Dunkers. You'll have fun. It means women were supposed to rule the world, and they will in our skit. So now I would like to talk about, I have such wonderful tech women with me today. And we all have a great tech background. Everybody has a computer science, in fact, and running as leaders in technology. But McKinsey's latest report shows us that even though 50% of women graduate from STEM areas, only 20% remain in working in these STEM sort of jobs. And many who enter in this career, as they grow further into their career, they are the only women in a men-controlled room. So I don't understand, why don't more women go into tech? And today we will dive more into it with our wonderful leaders here. Tech field means that you're at the cutting edge. All industries are moving towards tech and automation of basic tasks. There's demand for tech. There's a lot of money in tech. Women in tech make much more than women not in tech. So we want to be sure why these women are underrepresented. And I would love to introduce our tech leaders that we have on our panel today. And I'll start with Rohini. Dr. Rohini Sriwatsa is a National Tech Officer for Microsoft India. In this role, she is responsible for strategic technology areas of national importance with the government and industry. She began her career at R&D at AT&T Bell Labs and has more than 25 technical publications in scientific journals to her name. From AT&T, she moved on to strategic consulting roles with Boston Consulting, IBM Global Services. She's traversed business and tech world with equal agility and passion. She also serves as a business tech advisor to several known organizations and is an alum from Wharton with her MBA and UT Austin with her PhD. Fun and personal information about her is she loves reading and reinvented herself by learning after 10 years of being in the business world to come back to tech. She loves Indian classical music, and the best part is she is an amateur photographer. And she has a care in the world. When she wants to go photography, she just leaves and goes with a group of strangers doing photography, whether it is to find an owl and focus on it and get a picture of it, or it is a beautiful, beautiful scenery. So, Dr. Sriwatsa, I would like to know how being in the tech world has enabled your career and your success. And after that, I would also like to ask Dr. Geeta Manjunath and Sonia Bashir Kabir about this, and I will introduce them as we go ahead. So first to you, Dr. Rohini Sriwatsa.
Thank you so much, Smita, and it's wonderful to be in the company of amazing women here on this panel. It's just so privileged to be here. So I think to answer your question, look, I think as you rightly mentioned, tech is where the action is. In fact, there's a term that Satya Nadella uses called tech intensity. It's about the fact that every
Now, from an end use perspective, as an entrepreneur, you just talk only about your startup. So, of course, I have been using tech in my career, Hewlett Packard and Xerox, to solve many, many interesting real life problems along with my wonderful teams. And but right here, as you nicely introduced, and it's wonderful to be part of this panel, by the way. Yes, we have used tech to actually address one of the largest problems in women's health, which is breast cancer, where, as you also mentioned, a lot of women are dying. In India, for example, we lost 90,000 women last year. And in the world, it's over 650,000 women who die every year. And how do we save them? The only way to save them is to make the detection early. So early, almost like stage 0, stage 1, without any symptoms, and so on and so forth, so that the treatment is very, very simple, just an outpatient procedure, and the probability of success, probability of survival, in fact, is over 90%. And that is where we want to go. And that is where our solution, has made this possible to actually do early stage detection, stage 0, stage 1. So as a techie, I find this very fascinating, and it's satisfying because, now AI is become so mature, because we have seen it, baby step back propagation to where we are with neural networks, deep nets, and CNN, RCNN, and so on. So with this sort of growth and the growth in the, the computing power and a lot of data available, it's really satisfying to see AI-enabled solution really able to make this very critical decision of likely to be cancer or no cancer, right? And do it in a very automated 2-minute kind of an analysis, So that's sort of what I think such great things is what tech can do. And it's amazing to see that.
Thank you. Thank you, Geeta. I really, that's AI is fun. That we might want to come back to. A lot of people are scared of AI, so that one we would love to. Now I'd like to introduce our wonderful third panelist, Sonia. And Sonia Bashir Kabir is the founder and chairman of SBK Tech Ventures and is vice chairman of United Nations Technology Bank for Least Developed Countries. She's a tech professional from Silicon Valley. She's a tech venture capitalist now. Something that you would know, she was one of the 10 recipients of Microsoft's Founders Award in 2016 and was given by Bill Gates. Which was given by Bill Gates. She served as managing director of Microsoft Bangladesh, Myanmar, Nepal, Bhutan, and Laos. She's the first woman to win the ICT Business Person of the Year award from Daily Star ICT Awards in 2019. And another first, she's the founder of the first Women IT Association in Bangladesh and the first female tech investors network in Bangladesh, again called FTIN. So, and something that I came to know about her, that she was a national volleyball player in her time in Bangladesh, and still, if she gets a moment, she would like to go and join and play basketball and the cricket team to this day. So Sonia, to you too, how has tech enabled means, your career and your success? If you'd like to, please enlighten us on that.
Thank you, Smita. It's indeed an honor to be with such esteemed panelists. So I started my career in Silicon Valley, and it was an incredible learning and immersion experience from the 80s, where the rise of personal computing took place. So we went from democratizing technology And over the years, it was from democratizing technology to democratizing innovation. And then I moved back to Bangladesh after living 20 years in Silicon Valley, and I think my career continued. So I was very passionate about seeing technology as an enabler and how it can cut through all verticals. In our part of the world, Bangladesh being a least developed country, it was my passion to see how we can embed technology in any verticals that are not really traditionally touched by technology, like health, education, banking, farming. And it has been a very interesting journey to see how the digital transformation has happened, especially after post-COVID. The acceleration of digital transformation in these sectors where I've been a very active investor, health, education, agriculture, and fintech. So it's been a very exciting journey. I'll share more, but the success has been with the digital acceleration in our part of the world post-COVID.
Great, thank you. So I know, we were talking about why women don't go into technology, but based on what questions that you guys have answered about the tech intensity and AI being enablers, and in tech being enablers and AI being fun also, one of the questions that come out is that being part of tech is really to be on the cutting edge. You have to learn continually. You have to be abreast with what's happening right now. So is that the reason many women drop out? What do you think are the challenges that face the women today that stop them from being on the cutting edge? And what are the solutions? So that one, should we start with Geeta first? Is that okay?
Yeah. So I guess it's a great question for this particular team, right? Well, we can speculate multiple reasons for doing this, but I think one of the main reasons is where it starts at the family, right? So at the family, first of all, there shouldn't be any bias towards the kind of selection that the girl makes in her career or in the beginning itself, right? For example, when I was a small girl, just coming out of 12th, and we had both these streams, right? Engineering and medical, you need to choose one, or there's no other stream. That was the general social thing. And then I actually managed to get into the top seat near Bangalore, I would say, in Bangalore for both medical and engineering. And then my father was very, very critical in letting me just choose what I like. I think that's that element, because everyone kept on telling me that you have got a medical seat in this particular institution. I don't want to name. Why don't you go for it, right? But my heart was in the math and science. It's a different story that I come back full circle and I work in healthcare and engineering, and it's that's how it was supposed to be.
But it was meant to be.
Yeah, but anyway, it took a lot of courage for me to say no, because when there are 100 people saying you have to choose because women have to be doctors and so on, so I'm saying no, I really love math and physics, and I want to go for this engineering, though there are many other people who are getting that versus this, right? So I was able to make that decision really thanks to my parents who said, do what you like and what your heart says. I think that is where the starting point is, because I feel there may be many women who are very good in some of these skills, but probably they chose another field that was more comfortable, right, to live in the future, right? So that aspect of it is one element. After that, of course, when you grow up, it's not easy to, let's say after BTech, you want to go to masters or something, you all will agree that it's not easy, because you're in a round table where the only girl, and there are like 10, 15, male colleagues sitting there, and you have to voice your idea, you have to voice your opinion. And it requires a lot of courage. And personally, for me, I was like a very, very shy girl, not even talking to the next door person, things like that. So it required a lot of internal courage to say, yes, I love the thing, what I'm doing, and I need to express myself, right? And here again, I think we get, some of the girls and some cohort which kind of gets dropped off. And I think the internal courage, belief in yourself to say what you think is the right thing is the other part, asking questions and so on. So I firmly believe the initial part of your career, initial part of your education will set your future goals and career goals, which help you set it with confidence. So I know there are several other reasons. I'll let the other panelists talk about it, I'm sure.
Right. Rohini or
I'll just
Sonia?
jump in here. I think
Sure.
I take a slightly different point of view. Geeta talked about the early part in the career, and I think when you are into the technology world, and the point you were making, Smita, right, that the tech world is changing very fast, and it's an important element to succeed in that world, to stay up to speed and stay current. So there are two thoughts there. One, I think women need to realize and potentially maybe fall short, and I am speaking from some experience and some observation, that they don't network as much to learn from others, because there is a particular way to learn from courses and textbooks, etc. But as you go into a career and you need to accelerate your learning, you need to be able to call the right person and quickly learn something quickly, and that requires you to have a network of people who are your close circle, with who you are sharing information and you're learning from them, and that is needed to be quick in learning. That's point one. And I think probably we are shy. Probably we think that we need to get something ourselves before we are able to call somebody and say, you know what, tell me about this area and I don't understand it, right? And learn quickly. That's one. Second is, I think my sense is, women, even when they know something, they tend to downplay what they know. And they tend to have this perhaps a little bit of a confidence deficit, which they need to get over, because I think it is everybody. And I talk to my peers, gender being not relevant, quite honestly, and everybody is feeling this sense. It's not a women thing. Everybody is feeling this sense that things are moving very fast and it's hard to keep up. So it's not a gender thing. And so therefore, your ability as a woman, leave the gender aside, to learn something, get into an area and keep abreast is important irrespective. And that requires you to network. That requires you to show that you know a little bit, but you don't know enough. You are willing to learn. And that agility, that confidence is required. So I think that is a gender agnostic point, actually. And women should
It is on personality.
Yeah.
You're saying that you have to be out there. It doesn't matter you're a man or a woman.
Yes.
You have to be out there learning,
Yes.
networking, creating opportunities for yourself. Sonia, what's your point of view?
I'd just like to elaborate a little bit from what Geeta said. I fully agree with what Rohini is saying. But one of the things I've noticed is that these women, even if they are independent, they're taught to look out for themselves. There's this little bit of an emotional independence that is required for women, because in our culture, when you grow up, either it's your father or your older brother or your husband who's always protecting you and walking you to school or college or to events. So that women, I think in technology, women are a little bit afraid to come, and that fear needs to be handled, and that's where the emotional independence needs to kick in. And the second thing is, I fully agree with what Rohini said. You need to network, and then we need to have enough role models or a platform where women can just come and do a buddy system or a pairing system and see what is life like for a techie woman. Is it that hard? And the last thing I say that we founded an organization called Bangladesh Women in Technology, where we started going to the 6th and 7th grade girls and saying, please study sciences, because in our culture, if you give your metric and intermediate 10th and 12th grade in the arts, it's very difficult to switch to sciences, which you can do in the US degree, education. So it's very important to encourage them at an earlier age, where they're choosing that please choose STEM and why, and then help them get rid of their fears and help them network from that age and have role models who can continue to mentor them along the way.
Right. So, you're right, because as for most of us, we are treated as princesses, right?
Yes.
By our fathers, especially. Like, even though, like, my dad also made me, like, I was a tomboy, but they still treated me as a princess. I wanted to become a mechanical engineer, and he said, no, you shouldn't go under the cars. I said, Daddy, you do it. But he says, no, but you're a girl. I draw the line there. So I understand. So I became a computer scientist, right? So that is something that we have to do. And the
So I have
other
a
thing
funny
that you're
story. I
saying,
have a funny story on that one,
sure,
Smita, on the princess one,
sure.
right? Because one, I and my sister, we grew up as two girls, so there was no prince happening anywhere else, right? So we were the princesses, prince, everything. But when I had my daughter, I was so against anybody getting her any princess, anything pink, and we were living in the US at that time, right? Nothing pink, nothing princessy, etc. People were afraid to bring me a gift for my daughter, and they would call
Very
and
nice.
ask, what can we bring that will not offend you? So I'm really against that whole princess thing. Sorry, I had to jump in.
Totally, totally. No, means that is the truth. You know, that girls in general here in the US also, and also in India, also like girls in general earlier, they used to be given Barbie toys and boys are given cars. And I loved cars. I am totally in love with the car. In my dorm room at IIT Kanpur, it was full of all the Lamborghinis and everything. And people used to come just to see the cars on my wall, right? So it is just how like our
We
society
have to stop
somehow
stereotyping.
introduce.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to get off the topic here, but
Yes.
this is really good stories because we all like grew up in that world. But in today's world, there's like no difference. Women are embracing, but still we see that a lot of them are not making past the midpoint, right? They are very good in technology, engineers, data scientists, entrepreneurs, right? But to get to the next level of success, driving up to the corporate ladder, we are seeing still a lot of drop off. And is that because of there's too much to do all the time? Is it like you want to be a superwoman in everywhere, take care of the family and this? Or is it something that in your view, I would like you guys to point that out, how to balance it so that you're still a leader in the tech world. You're still growing up in the tech world and going up in this corporate success ladder as an entrepreneur, as this, and still doing that. And still, you're not considered a bad mother. You're not considered a bad wife, a bad sister. And it's okay to be considered a bad mother, bad wife, bad sister once in a while, right? So, whoever would like to take this first, please go ahead. I would like to see what kind
I'll
of
jump in.
response.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sonia. Go ahead.
It's very important for us to share with other women that it is okay to be ambitious. Ambition is good, right? I think women kind of think, for the points that you mentioned, that they have to balance, they have to be the mother, they have to be the daughter, and there's no time for me or the ambition or for personal growth. And that is so much important, because if I'm mentally and physically okay, I will actually give back better to people in my ecosystem. So to encourage women, and that's why we see that a lot of women are not rising, they become stagnant at certain levels, because they're not entertaining the idea of ambition, saying that I need to go and compete and I need to win. Because everything, success comes at a cost, right? So how many people or how many women are willing to trade something for that success? And I think that's where I see a lot of women are sacrificing, right? They're saying, no, I'm a tech person. And there's another misconception in our part of the world that if you're a tech person, you don't need to be a leader. And that's something I hear a lot, that, I'm not an MBA or a management person. I'm like, there's no such rule, right? The lines are all very meshed up now. So the two things that I would say is, one is, encourage ambition. And second is encourage them to think of themselves so that they do understand that success comes at a price, and it's okay to pay that price.
Yeah, it's almost like a role play, right? Each one of us do multiple role plays, mother, sister, aunt, and of course, an entrepreneur and techie and all that. So I think what's most important, in my opinion, is to give 100% when you are at one role, right? You give 100%. See, for example, none of us are thinking about the baby or, husband or family at this stage, or kitchen or whatever, right? We're not thinking about it at all. So that's how it should be. Wherever you are, you give 100%. And I like what you said, Smita. Yes, it's okay to be a little bit of a bad mother once in a while. You don't have to be guilty, because taking this guilt on your shoulder all the time, one, you will not be able to give that 100%, because you're, oh my God, no, you just be here, and when you want to prioritize which activity. I think once we have that comfort zone of sort of playing with the multiple balls and which one is in your hand and which is up, I think things will go. And that's it. So reduce the guilt and feel it's okay. So having more role models, having people who have done this before. I particularly wore the normal sari, which is like, it is possible to be a normal Hindu girl and lady and also be a techie and an entrepreneur. That's what I want to also say. It is possible. I do the cooking at home as well. It is possible. You just need to divide your time in a way that you can give 100% for each of your roles whenever you're doing it, not all the time. You don't need to do all of that. So that's my view.
Rohini.
Okay, I'll have to jump in here, Geeta. I sort of have a slightly different point of view.
Yeah.
I'm recalling Indra Nui's one of the famous clips that I'm sure many of us have watched is that you just can't have it all. Okay. And so I am honestly, hands up, I'm a terrible mom. I'm a terrible wife. Okay. I
No.
quite honestly, I'm okay, but I don't try to be perfect at it. It's just not possible. Okay. And and long ago, I've given up the aspiration of trying to be a superwoman. It's just not possible. So I think it's important to understand that you are going to have 24 hours in a day, and you're going to have finite energy, and you're going to have to make some trade-offs, and you have to get comfortable in your skin with those trade-offs. And I don't think it's a question of anybody else defining what a good wife or a good mom or what needs to be. I think it's up to us, and get comfortable with it. And best of all, get your spouse and your family get comfortable with it, and they eventually do. And I think, not to put it slightly, on a more serious note, the point I would make is that I think as leaders, we have to understand that this is not about gender. This is actually, it's about each of our societies, our country, the economy. It's actually a much bigger issue, because every time in history where the women have fallen behind in the economies have lost on growth, on equitable growth. And there are tremendous amount of numbers, whether it is the World Economic Forum, United Nations, etc., to show that when women participate in the economy, it results in more inclusive and sustainable development, not to speak of actual GDP numbers. So this is not a gender issue. So it is therefore important that both men and women realize, understand and we teach that to our sons, not just our daughters, what it will take for women to participate in the long run, for the long haul in their careers. And therefore, what does it mean to participate in the other fronts of life beyond work, to make sure that that is actually possible? Meaning more sharing of responsibilities at home, more sharing of child upbringing in the family. Many of those things have to be equitable for this to be really sustainable. It is not something that women can become superwomen and just make it happen.
Absolutely. So from that,
sorry, I just wanted to say, family support is absolutely required, right? But nobody should stop you from being each one of those as well.
Right.
Doesn't have
All
to be.
of you bring very good points in there. So basically, it is that that we grow up with our own biases instead of outside biases. Because of the way we are brought up, it could be environmental biases of either, like, if somebody didn't know what a man or a woman is and you lived in an island, people couldn't define the genders. You grow up doing whatever you want, right? So what you guys are saying is that, gender biases are self-imposed sometimes. Be confident, be out there, do, and be mindful of what you're doing, and be present in accepting it and trying to grow from that point of view. So this is really, really interesting from what you guys have said. That brings me, one other point is that this is something Sonia brought up earlier, is the fourth industrial revolution. And it is more about than just technology driven changes. It's about creating an inclusive, human-centered future. So where do you see the women's role as tech leaders supporting this human-centered future? Means I believe that hey, we are already ruling the world and we will continue to. So, you know my take. So, Sonia, would you like to go first on this one?
Sure. So, what's happening with the world is with automation and Internet of Things and machine learning, there's a lot of jobs will be replaced by technology, right? And then, so one of the things that we feel is that this we need to be very united. It should be men and women versus the automation or technology. So, and in order to be united, we need 50% of the world's population is women. They need to be included. So if we are leaving behind women in the race, in the technology, and they're not included, then exclusion has joint risks. It's not only risky for men, it's not only risky for women, it's also risky for men, just exactly what Rohini said, right? That the risk is ours, it's not just women, it's something we will do together. So inclusion of women is a joint responsibility with men, and exclusion has joint risks. And that's what the fourth industrial revolution point I'm trying to make is that as more and more jobs are going to be automated, as the lower end jobs are going to be covered, and those women who are not going to get up on to speed or on the bandwagon with technology roles and embrace technology, they will have this the risk of losing what they're doing. And then the GDP growth or economy growth, everything will suffer if we don't do that together. So that's a very important point for me, saying and echoing what Rohini said, that it's not so much a gender, but it's a unity between men and women, because we need to unite and face the world and be inclusive.
So let's ask Rohini's views on this.
No, I'll build on what Sonia is saying. I think an important point that Sonia has mentioned, as I said, is as many things are getting embedded with technology and automation, intelligence, etc. The idea of work wherein man is augmented with technology, man is augmented with artificial intelligence and other technologies is going to be important. Then what happens is that the qualities that a human brings to the table in that augmented world is more human in nature, which means more around compassion, empathy, understanding emotional intelligence, collaboration. So imagine a situation where let's say in healthcare world, wherein a diagnostic, there is a lot that can be done either using an artificial intelligence based diagnostic tool, or perhaps there is a ability to query a bot to get information, etc. Point being that the qualities of what you traditionally consider womanly qualities of compassion and empathy and collaboration and holistic thinking, and what you may call as right brain thinking, some of those things actually are going to become assets. And therefore I think that women may actually have a real advantage in bringing those qualities to life. And I would say that perhaps men in many ways will have to learn those qualities in the world where you have a lot of automation and the augmentation of technology, augmentation of humans with technology requires humans to have more human qualities.
Right. I think Geeta already shows that in her AI work with the breast cancer as to how robotics is basically being non-invasive and how she is. I heard, Geeta, would you like to expand a little bit more on it? How you go to the rural areas and you make this robot totally available to women that they don't feel invaded. Could you please talk more about it?
Happy to chat on that. So basically, yes, being women founders, right? I think we picked the right problem, which needs to be solved for women. More importantly, the way we designed the solution is that we realized that nobody wants to disrobe in front of others to do a breast cancer screening, be it a male technician, female technician. Why would we want to do it? If there is a huge problem, I don't mind, because I want to save my life. But if it's a preventative screening every year, going and standing in front of somebody, right? I know, why do we want to do it? So that's the thought process. We said, okay, how can we make this privacy aware? While that was not the main reason why we started it, was mainly to have an early stage detection test itself, which is lacking today. So we made it privacy aware in a way that nobody sees or touches the person during the test, right? We have like a booth kind of structure where the lady enters, she sits like this for about 10 minutes. Of course, she's not wearing a top but nobody is seeing her. It's kind of fully covered, like a changing room experience is what I say. Like a mall, right? You go into a mall and sort of, you don't mind trying on new dresses because of course the door is closed. It's exactly the same way, right? And it's just about 10 to 15 minutes of the person sitting in there and coming out. Technician is outside. She'll say, turn left, turn right, whatever. She can see the contour because we use a thermal sensor. Thermal sensor basically measures the temperature variations on the chest, and then this 400,000 temperature points that we measure per person is analyzed using the wonderful models that we have to actually say whether something is wrong, right? Likely to be wrong specifically. So when she comes out, her report will be ready. And that is what we actually took to rural areas, of course, in addition to the hospitals and diagnostic centers. So because it's a very portable test, it's just something you can, the device itself is an off-the-shelf device. You can put it in your backpack, take it out, and then do the screening outside as well. So this is, made breast cancer screening scalable, accessible to lots and lots of women. Right now, we've screened 33,000 women so far, and we are on the move there. So here is where tech was morphed to become more women-friendly, and the compassion aspect that the panel is very nicely talked about. There's also another element, right, which I believe women are good at. Of course, we talk about tech leaders and so on and so forth. But Smita, you mentioned about becoming mature and doing larger things, right? And you cannot do it alone. You always do it with your teams, right? So you have a team, and there are lots of conflicts many times, that arise within the team. And as a mother of the team, right, you could basically look at it in a very compassionate manner, try to find different points of view. And I think there were some literature surveys that were done where they figured out that women are better managers, people managers as well, right? So that element of compassion, while keeping the tech alive. For example, I can quote many brainstorming sessions we had. Obviously, tech is about innovation. Innovation is about ideas. And when you have a team, different people will have different ideas. So we follow one rule, and I always tell them, no idea is bad idea. You can enhance it, right? And then bringing that kind of cohesiveness to ideation itself is also possible because we are able to relate to what is that person trying to say. Maybe he said something, she or he, it's a group gender, right? So it said something, maybe that's not exactly what he or she meant. Maybe there's something else to it. So you can actually, many times, I guess this women instinct of reading between the lines and, trying to sort of second guess, those things actually help. And if you use it in a constructive fashion to, bring in better cohesion and increase productivity at the team level as well, even as at the tech level as well as management level.
Thank you. That was very enlightening. Rohini, you mentioned one thing. Do you mind if I ask you about this? You said that women themselves do not believe, like they are always thinking. You said that they doubt themselves. They think and I've seen this too. And I coach a lot of women on that. And I was one of my friends has started a company about creating tech leaders and making sure women in STEM have unfair advantage. And she was a VP at Amazon, and now she is going through with her company, trying to create more of clones of herself, a successful tech leader. So similarly, so what you said, that women doubt themselves, same thing. If there are 10 points for a job description, men only have 2, they'll say, oh, I'm fit for the job. And a woman will go through 8, and the 2 that she doesn't have, she said, oh, I'm not fit for a job. Those kind of balances, that in STEM especially, when it's tech, anybody can learn with the smartness and women that we all have, and it's not gender-based. How do you ensure that that women can handle this? And also, so Rohini, 1 second, Sonia, you'll be dropping off in a minute or so. Do you have any quick ideas on this, or?
Sonia, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'd just like to conclude. I'm sorry, I have another call, but as a message is, as a collective, if we can work with Thai women to make a platform that we've all talked about, where we can get women, and women, actually more girls than women, because those who are entering into the careers, for mentorship, and then have a connection where we can show them that what we do is really not that difficult, and get rid of that fear that holds them back. And thank you so much. It was a lovely panel, and I would love to stay connected with each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sonia.
Thank you, Sonia.
Goodbye.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. So thanks, Sonia. And so Rohini and Geeta, but do you mind let Rohini answer this? She brought this up, and then Geeta, we would ask you the same question on that. So
Yeah, sure.
Rohini, please. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there are two different sides to it. One for women, perhaps to build their confidence level and really be more perhaps objective about what they mean by like the point you made, right? With women thinking 8 out of 10 they know, and beyond that, I think it's like the earlier point I was making about networking and understanding that everybody is trying to learn. Everybody, it's gender agnostic. Everybody is trying to learn about new areas, and nobody can claim again gender agnostic that out of 10 things they know all 10. Right? Everybody is trying to learn. So that's point number one. I think realizing that you are not alone in this, and that you need to continue learning, and therefore keep up your confidence level. That's point one. Second, I think perhaps for senior leaders, both men and women, to understand that perhaps the women are coming with that bias in their own minds of underplaying what they have done or underplaying what they are capable of, and so therefore that mentorship or that encouragement or that ability to show that this gap, right? You mentioned between 2 and 8. Of course, 2 perhaps is too little, but maybe 6 or 7. but okay, between 6 and 8, you are ready for it, right? That kind of confidence boosting in some ways. So meaning for men meaning men and women leaders to overcorrect for women a little bit, right? Maybe that helps in terms of changing the scale, but it's going to be a learning process for all of us.
It's been so much fun conversation with both of you and Sonia, and it's just that I think I am being told that we have to wrap up right now. Our session time is over, but we do need to continue this. And I didn't tell, I run a management consulting firm in which we also coach a lot of women on that. So I would love to have all of you participate, and we should open up a forum on Thai women in doing this more. Sure. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys were wonderful.
Thank you.
And it's been so much pleasure getting to know you. We should keep up our conversation later on too.
We should.
Thank you.